Our next guest is North Bay vocalist, guitarist, and photographer Brian Byrnes. The Brian Byrnes Band will perform on Friday, July 12th for a free concert at the Cadillac Hotel in San Francisco. Welcome to Backstage Sonoma, Brian.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm glad you could be here. Could you give our listeners a brief overview of your musical career and how it all began for you?
It began for me when my mother played me a Walt Disney album about harmony when I was a kid. And at the same time, she gave me a harmonica as age 7. And I learned how to play some things. And I just kept going with it and having fun with the harmonica. My parents would even drag me out when their friends would come over and they'd parade me out there to play some harmonica from a 7-year-old. I was tuning into melody at that time. In high school, I really started playing with friends, and I played in some, unofficial bands. But in my college years, starting in 1968 at Santa Clara University, it really got going. There was one music teacher there, Charlie Lampkin. He was well known. He was a TV actor. And he heard me playing the harmonica around the campus, and he invited me to his office and said he was doing a program on the history of jazz. It was going to be televised and used as a learning mechanism for college-level students. And it started with the history of the blues. And he gave me a stack of 9 blues albums, and I said, take these home or back to your room and listen to them. And when you're ready, you come in and we'll talk. And so I started with that project, and I really started working hard on the blues at that time. The program kind of failed in some ways because he had it recorded at San Jose State University, and they had a little trouble with the video. And it took him a while to get back to it. And by then, I wasn't really connected to him. In 1973, I had been teaching, elementary school of all things. I was never really devoting myself to music completely, but I joined a band called Rising Sign with a friend who was an amazing guitarist, Japanese guitarist that had actually recorded with Peggy Lee when he was only 17 years old. He was a great player, but I didn't know how to play the guitar, so he played bass, and I learned how to play the guitar on the run. And that band continued, and I joined the Musicians Union in San Jose. We were playing 5 nights a week at one point, and I was just playing guitar, no harmonica, and singing with another female vocalist, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then in 2001, I joined a band called Night Train as a guitarist only, electric guitar. And we ended up getting a gig at the Giants Stadium, which at that time was Pac Bell Park. And we played for Charles Schwab Company party. And I brought my son Brendan in to play lead guitar on that. And that was really, really special,
Cool. Nice.
At that point, I was really started switching from the blues to chromatic harmonica. I figured, I could do a lot more with it. I started sitting in at the Boom Boom Room, John Lee Hooker's club in San Francisco and Fillmore. I went in there every Monday night after a guitar class, started sitting in with bands, and ended up making my way into the house band, playing with them, Oscar Mayer and the Blues Beat. And that same time, around 2001, I went to the Mill Valley, old Sweetwater in Mill Valley, and started sitting in with saxophonist Jules Broussard, who had been a full-time member of the Ray Charles Band, and he had toured with Santana and all kinds of other things. I actually went in there every Sunday for 10 years.
Jeez.
And just to sit in with them. And every time I went in, during the week before the Sunday, I would put 3 to 4 new songs together that I had never played, mostly jazz standards and blues, and taught myself how to play the chromatic harmonica during those years. And that worked out for me. That's pretty much what I do now. But in 2016, I started my own band called the Brian Byrnes Trio and put out an EP called, it was titled Only for You, which is an original tune. And at the same time, I got hooked up with the Orinda Jazz Festival. Carol Albin was running that, and I ended up doing that for 5 straight years. And toward the end, he was even running the sound for the whole show. And that was a lot of fun. Played with some great musicians, Mads Tolling, and wonderful players in the Bay Area. At that time, also around 2018, Jules asked me if he could join my band.
Wow.
Which was a real shock because he was the master. And I said, yeah, why don't you come and play with us? And so we started performing all over the Bay Area. And even while I was doing that with Jules, I started playing with a Brazilian singer, Lau Paiva, and really got into Brazilian music and met a lot of great Brazilian players in the Bay Area. And that just lit up my life. Brazilian music right now is a very big part of my music. Actually, at this show on July 12th at the Cadillac Hotel, it's just a 1-hour show, but it's kind of a big deal for me. I'll be playing 6 Brazilian tunes and singing 3 of them in Portuguese. Gotten into it that much. When the pandemic hit, kind of everything shut down for me, and I wasn't playing much music at all. There were no gigs available. Everybody I knew that was a musician was shut down. On the day when I think it was, Gavin Newsom basically shut everybody down from working and you had to stay at home, kind of gave it up for a while. And then I got going again and, started playing with Jules and then the band. And then I've actually played 5 different, this will be my 5th show at concerts at the Cadillac, and it's really an honor to play there. They have a lot of great jazz bands come through there. They do 1 show a month, and I have the July slot, and we're really looking forward to that. Jules Broussard played on that show last year, and it was really fun. He's such a great player and a sweet man. But he was unavailable this year. He's 87 years old, and so I have a Marin County phenom, Rita Thies, who's playing saxophone and flute on that gig.
Nice.
And that's kind of, been my path. I'm not a full-time musician. I had to feed the family, but I never gave up the music, and we're playing on July 12th.
All right. Good for you. What a life story that's been. You sent over a few tracks to share with our listeners, and this first song is called Hard Times. What's the backstory with this recording?
Well, The Hard Times was just a song that written by Ray Charles. And I never sang that with Jules. But once Jules was started to play with me, I started incorporating a lot of his songs, his favorites, and such. And I learned how to play this song, and it was just an honor for me to be able to sing Hard Times with Jules playing a saxophone solo on that, because he was, he's been a Bay Area legend since 1962, when he kind of peeled away from Ray Charles and started playing in the Bay Area. And he's been, anybody from Marin County will know who he is.
Right.
Because he's been at the Sweetwater for 25 years.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to that track now. And you're listening to Backstage Sonoma here on Cows FM.
My mother told me before she passed away, said, son, when I'm gone, don't forget to pray, 'cause there'll be hard times. Hard times. Well, who knows better than I? Well, I soon found out just what she meant when I had to pawn my clothes just to pay my rent. Hard times. Hard times. Well, who knows better than I? You're up, Jules. But when I lost my money, then she put me down. Hard times, hard time. Now who knows better than I? Yeah. There will be no more sorrow when I pass away, and no more hard times. Hard times. Now who knows? Who knows? Thank you, Jules Broussard.
My guest today is musician Brian Byrnes, who is sharing some of his music with us. This next song is an original called Tell Me That You Loved Me. What can you tell us about this song?
Tell Me That You Love Me is just a blues song. I've written a number of blues songs. As it turns out, over the time, I found most of the songs that I wrote, I have quite a few of them, ended up being kind of country tunes. But with the Boom Boom Room experience, I just wrote this song, and I used to play it more of an up-tempo blues, like a shuffle, but then I slowed it down. And this is a tune that Jules, in performance with when he was playing with me, he would play two saxophones at the same time on when he got his solo. I chose that. I'm playing an original blues at this show coming up in July. But this one was special because we got to hear Jules Broussard playing a two saxophone at the same time on it.
Nice, nice. So this recording was done last year at the Cadillac Hotel?
Yeah, this was the concerts at the Cadillac in 2023. And if anybody wants to look up that show, they can just Google concerts at the Brian Byrnes Band at the Cadillac Hotel 2023, and you get the video of the whole show. That was my fourth performance, and this year they'll be filming it again. This wonderful woman, Kathy Looper, runs that. She actually runs the whole Cadillac Hotel, which is now kind of a low-income hotel for people. She makes these shows open to the general public, anybody. I've got friends and family and clients of mine are coming, and people will walk in off the street. It's on Eddy Street, and you never know who's going to come in, and it just... This show is provided just for people to bring the music to the people that normally wouldn't be able to see it because they would have to pay to get in. It's a free show.
Nice. I was really impressed with the quality of this recording, too. It sounded great.
Thank you. Yes, they have Lee Walkup does the sound editing, and he for the video, he edits the video and the sound, and it comes out pretty good. They've got a good sound man on it. He's got microphones on everybody, a really quality vocal mic, and yeah, it's a joy to play there. You know, it's folding chairs, but it's a really nice setting with the old piano there, the Steinway piano.
Oh, nice.
And for me, it's a very prestigious show. And then to play that with Jules last year was one of the highlights of my music career.
All right. Well, let's listen to it now. This is called Tell Me That You Loved Me by the Brian Byrnes Band here on Backstage Sonoma.
Tell me that you love me before we go our separate ways. Tell me that you love me before we go our separate ways. You've been slipping away. Seems the blues are here to stay. Well, I tried to be a good man and treat you like a queen. I tried to be a good man, treat you like a queen. But every time I look around, well, you're nowhere to be seen. Sweet magic, you made me feel like I could fly. Our love was sweet magic, you made me feel like I could fly. But now here I am at your doorstep, bracing for the last goodbye. Tell me that you love me before we go our separate ways. Tell me that you love me before we go our separate ways. You've been slipping away. Seems the blues are here to stay.
We're speaking with musician Brian Byrnes today, who is also a notable photographer. Can you share your story, Brian, capturing Jimi Hendrix at a remote concert on the island of Maui in 1970, and how one of those images turned into an album cover?
It was just a lucky trip to Maui and a lucky day. I went with a Hawaiian friend was a classmate at college, and I was going to, he and I were going to try to find work in Honolulu. Neither of us could find a job. So we decided we would, bring our surfboards to Maui. And on the morning of, there were no cell phones. I had to go to a payphone and to phone him and say, okay, we're gonna meet there, right? And he said, oh, I can't go. Because his father hired him for a job at the bank he was that he was running. So I flew to Maui by myself, and one thing led to the next. I was directed up to the Haleakala Beach Park to sleep in the bushes so that the local Hawaiians wouldn't beat me up at that beach park that they did a lot of drinking and hanging out. And in the morning, I hitchhiked into Lahaina, and just miraculously, this guy approached me and said, do you want to buy my van? He was selling an International panel truck for $500. It was a home on wheels. It came with, a tape player and all this and that. And I said, yeah, let me go and cash in these cashier checks. And I bought his van. And then within an hour or two, this young woman rode by on her bicycle and said hello. And I said, where can I park this thing at night? And she said, oh, I'll phone my parents and see if you can park on their property. So it was okay. I parked on that property. And then I heard about the Jimi Hendrix concert, that it was going to be in the Haleakala crater. That's all I knew. So on the morning of July 30, I didn't have a phone or anything. I didn't have a wristwatch. I just drove to the top of Haleakala. It was a long drive to get up there, and it was freezing, and nobody showed. I so wanted to be there and say hi to Jimmy and tell him how much his music had meant to me. Nobody showed. I drove down the hill, went to sleep, and then I woke up and I drove around to find it, and I found it. I went up to in this eucalyptus grove, and I saw some cars starting to park, and I rolled down my window and I said, Rainbow Bridge. And the guy said, yeah. And I said, oh, my God, I found it. So I had one roll of film left on a really nice Retina camera, German-made Kodak that my father had given to me years earlier, and got up there. They built a stage up on the hill, and Jimmy with Billy Cox and Mitch Mitchell put on a beautiful show on the side of the Haleakala crater. And I took photographs. I didn't know anybody, so I didn't sit in one place. I walked all the way around and took pictures from different angles. And as it turned out, after almost 50 years, John McDermott, who was kind of running Authentic Hendrix, found me, and he wanted to see the photos. And I said, well, give me some more time. I had to process them a little bit. And I sent them to him eventually, and he was kind of hinting that he wanted to use one of my photos for the cover of the new Jimi Hendrix album, and I didn't really believe him. And I hadn't signed on yet because I was trying to get a little more money out of him, but I ended up keeping the copyrights and all the transparencies, so I can do whatever I want with them. I've used one of those photos on Maui for the John, what's his name?
Woodhouse?
Yes, John Woodhouse, Music Legends on Maui. But I got the cover shot for Jimi Hendrix Live in Maui, and also there's a booklet that comes with the album, and all 35 of my photos that I licensed to him showed up in the booklet, and it was like a complete sweep for my Jimi Hendrix photographs.
As a Jimi Hendrix fan, that must have just blown your mind after all these years to finally make a Jimi Hendrix album cover, and the inside too.
Yeah, I had, I was always a super fan of Jimmy's, but I never knew what to do with these photos. I tried to show them to different people that were rock photographers, and I got nowhere until it was a Facebook link. Somebody had seen something I think I posted on Facebook, got in touch with me, and then connected me with John McDermott,
Nice.
And then it just kind of all fell together from there. And it was a dream come true. But he was millions and millions of people idolized the energy and the talent of Jimi Hendrix and the unique performances that he put on. But it was really something special on Maui. Jimmy was a little, dismayed at a point that nobody was up dancing around, but it was a different experience. It wasn't a paid concert where people were taking drugs and going in there and acting crazy. These were families and surfers and athletes.
Yeah.
It was you had to be on the Coconut Wireless to find out about it. So people were mostly sitting, but they warmed up and started going for it. But it was that kind of a show. It was just like out on the hillside with Jimi Hendrix and his band playing to the heavens. Really something.
What could be better? Brian,
Yeah.
do you have like a presence online? Do you have a website or a Facebook page for people to follow your shows or follow what you're up to?
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page, and I don't even, it's, let's see, what is it? What's it? B. Byrnes Blues or something like that is my title, but I suppose you could find me. It's BrianByrnes. And I do post a lot of photographs on Facebook, mostly landscapes. I've got hundreds, maybe thousands of photos on Facebook. I just really developed into being mostly a landscape photographer. And that pretty much all started with photographing Jimmy at Rainbow Bridge.
How nice. What a great story, Brian. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thank you very much, Steve.
Let me remind our listeners about your upcoming show. The Brian Byrnes Band will perform on Friday, July 12th for a free concert at the Cadillac Hotel in San Francisco. What's their address again, Brian?
Yeah, I think it's 300 Eddy Street.
Okay.
And there is a parking garage at 155 Eddy Street. It's not the best neighborhood, but you can park really close. And once you get in, you'll have a wonderful show.
The show takes place at 1 p.m. and
It's at 1 p.m. on Friday, July 12th.
yeah, and you can find more info going to cadillachotel.org. Have a great show, Brian, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much, Steve. Great to talk to you.
Same here.